right now, at this defining moment in America. With so much on the line. From ABC News, My America, Your America, Our America. This is Turning Point. Tonight, how the killing of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd led us to a moment of reckoning. The journey of 4 filmmakers documenting history as protests erupt across the country, demanding change. The injustice that led us here. Is this finally America's turning point? Tonight, the lens of history.
And see where the shine will be underneath that.
Is there a certain way my hair or look should look? I don't know.
Can the speaker go up anymore, or is it at max? Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
We're rolling this?
All right. George Floyd. Well, I think like everybody, we saw the footage on television. And it was, I don't know, harrowing. It was just devastating to see.
It really was striking that this could still happen in a global pandemic. Like, folks are still being killed by police.
As George Floyd said, "I can't breathe." There was only what I depicted to be hatred, what I depicted to be racism.
And I knew that this was going to be shattering. At that point, all I knew to do was to pick up my camera. I'm Mike Shum. I'm 35 years old. I currently live in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm a documentary filmmaker.
In the final moments of George Floyd's life.
Gut-wrenching new police body camera video in the death of George Floyd.
Public cries for accountability and justice continued in the streets of Minneapolis.
How many times have we watched police officers murder people? I am sick and I am tired of really started leaving.
It was clear that how much pain there was. It was a combination of tension and anger and frustration.
But I'm gonna tell you what we're about to go do. We're going back to the precinct right now. And we're gonna disrupt their peace like they continue to disrupt our peace.
I think when he died, there was a thing that came that says, COVID be damned. I'm just gonna come out and do what I can do.
There have been events in history that you read about. And then there are those moments of things happening around you, and you realize, oh my God, I am witnessing history.
No justice! No justice!
I felt, let me just get closer and see what this feels like.
We are not all ignorant. We are not all useless. My sons want to live. My brothers want to live. My dad want to live. We want to live.
If the audience is feeling a degree of fear and adrenaline and tension at various moments, it's probably because I'm feeling the same way.
Hands up! Hands up!
It wasn't just senseless, and I was just one angle of that.
So while the movement and inflection point that we're experiencing today may have been ignited by the visible death of George Floyd, it's about looking at systemic racism and institutional racism in all of its forms.
Racism that happens on college campuses, racism that happens at work, the ways in which racism is baked into the housing system, our economic system, our education system.
What we're seeing today is a continuum, a continuation of what has been besetting our country for generations. The difference now is that we all are able to see with our own eyes.
I think people have gotten to a point where enough just became enough.
My name is Chidi Nobi, and I am from, England via Nigeria, and I'm a filmmaker photographer based in New York City.
This is what democracy looks like.
I'm just there to record the events as they happen. I remain impartial. I record both sides, and I let the story play out and tell itself.
Show them love while they are alive. It is your duty to protect black people. It is your duty to protect black women. No justice!
Over the course of this summer, I don't know how many protests I've covered.
My mother asked me, why do you gotta be on the streets every day? Because it's the right thing to do.
The story never ends, and you just keep on, you just keep on shooting.
It's been said that history is written by the victors. But what's different today, because of technology, everybody has a camera. Everybody now can document history, and everybody can judge for themselves. Who's good, who's evil, who's right, who's wrong.
I think that George Floyd means to people my age, I'm 77, what Emmett Till meant. I was a little girl when Emmett was murdered. I know that we expected the law to find them guilty. And of course, the law said not guilty, as if it were a joke.
One of the realities about change in our nation's history is that it's often bloody and violent and brutal and dangerous and scary. And cameras capture those images.
When I think about the images of John Lewis on that bridge, those marchers during Bloody Sunday being bludgeoned, I can't help but think about the importance of visual imagery.
After the activism of the 60s, there seemed to be a lull in either activity or in our sensibilities. And then 1991, the beating of Rodney King.
We're among a group of 15 who stopped a 25-year-old black man last Saturday night, then beat him, kicked him, and clubbed him, unaware that an amateur photographer was recording the incident on videotape.
I was a young reporter then, sent to cover the LA riots in 1992.
To the people of South Central LA, that 30-hour rampage was more revolt than riot.
And then, like now, I find myself covering that same level of frustration and anger in streets across America.
A Chicago police detective charged with killing an unarmed woman not guilty.
The family of Rakia Boyd erupted in anger.
The outrage expressed on Chicago streets tonight.
New video today from the night officer Jason Van Dyke shot and killed Laquan McDonald.
My name is Ashley O'Shea. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I'm 27 years old, and I am a cinematographer and documentarian. My first memory of me attending a protest, I actually in college in 2012 when Trayvon Martin was killed. That was really like the genesis for the current movement for Black Lives. But at the time, of course, we didn't know that.
I was in the street in 2014. I was one of many people in the street for 400 days in Ferguson. If we had not stood in the street for Mike Brown, people would have said that we didn't exist. It wasn't until we went to the street that we took away people's ability to say this isn't an issue. I've always thought about protests as telling the truth in public, that part of what we do is we use our bodies to say, here's what's true.
The first time that I brought my camera to a protest was in the fall of 2015 when I began the filmmaking process for my documentary.
Granting this for City Council and the mayor until y'all fire Dante Surface with no...
It's basically a deep look into the movement for Black Lives in Chicago. told through the experiences of two young Black queer women.
We are Black history. It's in the making. Even if we don't, our story's gonna make it. 16 shots! 16 shots! 16 shots! 16 shots!
There was literally a wall of police that was protecting this property. In that moment, I realized that this film had a lot more to it.
Touch my bike again, I'll touch my bike again, bitch.
I think that who is behind the lens matters as much as who is in front of the lens. When I go out into the field with my camera to document a protest or event or rally, I'm still a Black woman in America. That's still how people are gonna see me, and that's not something I feel I can abandon because I have a camera in my hand.
2020 did not happen in a vacuum. It comes after decades and decades of this kind of violence, where we see people killed unjustifiably.
I think that visual imagery that we're seeing now across America as unarmed Black men and women are being killed, that it's brought us to this inflection point.
There's Black life, and there's a white me on it. And I think that it's very simple to create that metaphor in your mind from this national story that's 401 years old to this incident that happens in this one city, in this one state, in this country.
If not for the lens, white supremacy for sure will try and convince you that it literally never happened, right?
Clashes in Kentucky.
To demand justice for Breonna Taylor, a no-knock warrant.
Shot her to death while she was sleeping.
It's been over 175 days since Breonna Taylor's murder, and none of her killers have been arrested. My name is Maxwell Mitchell. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, 32 years old, and I am a live streamer. All right, we're ready to go. I say the chants. I stand with the protesters facing the police.
Hear me out. You cut me off, and I can cut you off.
So I always say protesting live streamer or live streaming protester, if you will, right? It's a combination of the two actions. People want to see what was happening. People want to see what was going on.
This is what democracy looks like.
The first time I went out in a protest was late March. There hasn't been one day yet that I've taken off. A march of protests that was really impactful. Breonna's birthday, the balloon release. That day was so impactful. I remember tearing up, being out there with everyone and seeing those blue and white balloons being released in the air. People wanted to be a part of that. It was such an impactful day, one that I will never forget.
I'm always mindful that protest is not the solution. It can't be. Protest creates space for the solution.
I do believe 50 years from now, when people look back on this time, that the imagery, be it film or photography, will be the defining record of what happened in a Black Lives Matter movement in 2020.
This is not justice!
Coming up next, a summer of unrest ends with another police shooting.
I'm tired of looking at cameras and seeing these young Black and brown people suffer.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.